رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
How is the slide? Can you see the slide on your screens?
Yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, wonderful. All right. So today our lesson will be might be a bit shorter than usual, but let's see. Maybe we have a few questions we can answer too. Let's start with our regular calligraphy. Let's have a look first and see if we can recognize this ayah of the Quran. Anyone can see it and read it? Maybe can identify it. You also can raise your hands if you can read it. I'll just give you a little bit of a hint. You start from the bottom and you can slowly make your way up. A bit difficult this time. Slightly hard.
Brother, this is thing ayahsabul or
again. Can you say it again, brother?
ayahsabul insanu something
okay,
like.
The beginning is okay.
Tabarak. I can see Tabarak.
There is no Tabarak.
No.
I think
Okay.
ma tara or.
In fact, brother Sultan, you have started well. This is the beginning of the ayah is correct. Okay, you are correct. Just the end is a little bit tricky because this ayah has a three scene, right? But one of the scene of the ayah is not clear. So let me show you. Maybe you can see. All right, see. أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى. Okay, you see the يحسب الإنسان أن يترك أن يترك.
Where is Ya? Where is Ya?
Here.
I.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hidden.
This scene here is also hidden because the ya has the dot a bit kind of out of focus here and here, and then scene Suda. This is Tanween. This is the N, Sudan. This is the N of Suda.
Oh yeah. Okay, Sin and Dwa mixed up together. So that's why
this one is tricky, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
So the translation of this is does man think that he will be left neglected? Suda, neglected. All right. So it's good practice for us to read the Quran and see the calligraphy as well. Now, what is today's plan? As usual, we are going to continue, and we are getting close to the end, in fact, of the rules, the comprehensive rules of elongation, ahkamul mad. And we are going to be done very soon, inshallah. And then we'll practice this week's surah. This week's surah, we'll practice it, inshallah. We will discover it first, and then we will practice it together. So going back to the chart, we can recap together. We can actually look at how much we have progressed so far in terms of all those types of mad or elongation that we've covered. We started initially with ahkamul mad for al-mad al-tabi'i or al-asli, which is only 2 counts. And that's the most frequent mad in the Quran. المد الأصلي or المد الطبيعي, 2 counts. So this is natural, and then the rest is all derived. It means it's caused by something else. It's derived, or it's we call it far'i, derived, meaning not original, derived. And that is mainly caused by 2 reasons. One of them is the presence of a hamza. So that mad will be caused by a hamza coming either before or after. And we've seen the types of hamza mad causing either 2 or 4 or 5. And then we also saw the other cause for mad to be derived, which is the sukoon, right? The presence of a sukoon. And last week we've covered what we call al-mad al-arid al-sukoon, or al-mad that is caused by sukoon, which is coming as a stop, as a stop. For example, in Surah Al-Fatiha, once we stop without continuing, then that stop will cause us to make it either 2, 4, or 6. Because if we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, the noon is noon sakina, noon sakina. And that sukoon will be actually causing the mad to be long. However, if we continue, it's only 2 harakat. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Okay. Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, because I continue. So 2 important words before I forget. In Arabic, stopping and continuing. This is something you will hear a lot in Tajweed science. We call it waqf and wasl. Waqf, stop, and wasl is continuing, not stopping, right? So when you make a link between 2 ayat, it's wasl. And if you stop at each ayah, it's waqf. Okay, waqf. So if you travel to an Arabic country and you see a red sign that says qif, it's imperative. Qa, fa, it means stop. That's the stop sign. Qif. Waqf is state, meaning stopping. Wasl is continuing. Okay, so waqf and wasl. All right, so what are we going to do today? If you look at the left part of your screen, inshallah, we're going to look at not mad lazim. This we'll be covering next week, but we'll talk about something different. Let me show you. This is actually a recap, just as we saw. Mad bi sabab sukun, or al-mad al-arid bis-sukun. We have 3 subtypes, and last week we saw 1 subtype. We called it al-mad al-arid lis-sukun, or the lengthening with a presented sukun. Today we will talk about number 2. I'm sorry, just give me a minute. All right, sorry about that. Let's continue. So today's mad is called al-mad al-lin. Can we have a repetition, everyone? Al-mad al-lin.
Al-mad al-lin.
Very good. Al-lin. Have you heard about this mad before? Al-lin. Anyone? No? No. Okay. This is very easy mad, it's very easy. Let me ask you a question before we continue. What are the 3 letters of mad?
Alif, ya,
wow.
Alif,
Okay.
waw, ya.
All right. In Arabic, we say al-alif as-sakina sabiquha fatha, means alif with sukun on top, but preceded by fatha. Ya as-sakina al-qabluha kasra, the ya with sukun on top, preceded by kasra, meaning e. And al-waw as-sakina sabiquha dhamma, the waw with sukun on top, but preceded with a dhamma. So these are the 3 indications of mad in Arabic. Alif with no haraka on top, There is no a, e, u on top of it, but preceded by a fatha. Ya with no haraka but a sukoon on top of it, preceded by kasra before it. For instance, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You see the mean, there is a kasra on the mean, right? Mean, but there is no fatha kasra dhamma on the ya. Okay, that is natural mad actually. And then wow with sukoon on top of it, but preceded by dhamma before it in the previous word. So these are the three letters of mad. Okay, when it comes to today's lesson, what we call al mad al lin, we're going to keep only two letters. Okay, two letters. But before we come to that, lean comes from the word layyin, layyinan, and it's actually found in the Quran. If you look at this ayah, ayah 44 of chapter 20, um, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فقُلَا له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر أو يخشى. لينا لينا means gently. Speak to him gently. So perhaps he may be mindful of me, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or fearful of my punishment. So this is instructions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given to Musa and Harun when he asked them to go and speak to Fir'aun and make da'wah to him so that he comes back from his evil ways to Islam, right? So speak to him gently. This is how we should do da'wah actually. We should speak gently to people. So Allah gives instructions to Fir'aun, to Harun and Musa. Speak to him gently, layyinan, lean, gently, easily and gently. So lean means soft or gentle. Okay, it comes from the Quran, layyinan, layyin. So as I said to you, the two letters of al-mad, al-lin are waw and ya. So an alif is not involved here. Okay, so we are excluding one letter of mad, and we are just keeping waw and ya. So this is actually easier because we're not really applying mad to all the letters. And in fact, this type of mad is not found a lot in the Quran. It's quite rare. So that's it makes it even more easy because we're not going to apply it that much. However, it can be found in one of the surah that I've asked you to do as homework a long time ago, I think. So for instance, let's look at the definition. This mad occurs when a soft or a lean in Arabic letter, here waw and ya, has a sukoon on top of it, but it's preceded by a fatha. So in this case, they are both preceded by fatha. Okay, I said to you that usually the letters of mad is waw preceded by dhamma, ya preceded by kasra, and alif preceded by fatha. But in this case, both of these letters waw and ya are preceded by fatha, not kasra or dhamma. So what we do is we stop and we lengthen these two letters, waw and ya, u, e. And these letters have a sukoon on top of them, okay? That's why it's a derived mad, derived because of sukoon. All right. Now, how long should it be? It's either 2, 4, or 6, like last week. Remember, al-mad al-arid lis-sukoon is either 2, 4, or 6. The same for this case, either 2, 4, or 6. Okay. However, if we continue and we don't stop, if we do wasl and not waqf, then it's even less than 2. It means this is how it's different from last week's lesson, because we said last week that al-mad al-arid lis-sukoon, if we continue, is going to be mad tabi'i, natural mad 2. But in this case, it's even shorter than that. It's even shorter than 2. Okay, let's have a look at some examples. So you can see here, for instance, this is kasra, yeah, with assumed sukoon on top, but preceded by kasra, right? This is ya preceded by kasra with sukoon on top. However, this ya had a sukoon on top, but it's preceded by fatha. So this is mad lean. Okay. So this is natural mad li. We have two natural mad here, ya and alif. Let me just use my pen. We have natural mad here and natural mad here. Actually, this is not natural mad, you remember, because it has hamza. But anyways, let's not make it too complicated right now. Let's focus on this. This one, contrary to this one, has fatha preceding it, and this one has a kasra. So this is what we call mad lean. So here we're going to do 2, 4, or 6. So we'll do it like this. لإيلاف قريش قريش or قريش. That's 4. And then لإيلاف قريش. That's 6. All right, that's Medlin, right? It's easy. Quraysh, Aish. Okay. So the reason why it's easy is because it's not E, it's A. Okay. E. When you say E, the E lafi, it's actually E intense a bit, right? But this one is like a glide. You are gliding from one letter to the next. Aish, Quraysh. Okay. Now, if you assume that you're going to continue to the next ayah, you're not making waqf. You're not doing waqf. W-A-W-A-Q-F. If you're not stopping here, right? You're not making waqf. You're making wasl. Then this one cancels itself. There is no longer 2, 4, or 6. This doesn't apply anymore. It's nothing. It's not even 2. You will say something like this. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. Okay. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم. See, there is no mad there. So it cancels it. If you stop, it applies, but if you continue, it cancels the mad. Okay. So here's another example.
Sorry, brother. Can you
Yeah.
please repeat?
Repeat what?
Repeat. Where is the rule applied here? Can you please explain? It's
Oh, okay. So I will explain everything from the beginning then. Here you can see at the end of the ayah, right? You have to focus on the end of the ayah, because we said that mad al-lin applies at the stop, right? When you're stopping somewhere, and you have to look at two letters, ya and waw. Only two letters. It applies only for two letters, ya and waw, not alif. And also the haraka before it, this mad has sukoon on top, which is actually what we have explained, that sukoon is the reason for deriving the mad, right? So the sukoon is on top. However, what comes before it is fatha. All right. So it's always fatha actually. What comes before it is always fatha, because we said that the three types of mad: alif, ya, and waw are these are the natural normal letters of mad. However, all of these have sukoon, assumed sukoon on top, right? But they are preceded by different letters. What is here and here and here are different harakat. So alif is usually preceded by fatha, ya is usually preceded by kasra, and waw is preceded by dhamma. And you can verify that, for instance, if we take this one here, see, before it here there's fatha, right? Dha'iqatul maut. Or for instance, if you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, me, right? So you see, actually sukun here actually, but it's not never written. The sukun is never written there. However, in this case, if you notice, it's the mad, but what's preceding it is always fatha. Okay, let me go back. So mad occurs when a soft or lean letter, these two, are preceded by a fatha. Okay. So what do we do in that case? We stop and we lengthen it to 2, 4, or 6. Oops, sorry. All right. This letter, this W or E, will be 2, 4, or 6. Right. So let's take the example of the second ayah of Ali Imran, ayah number 185. So كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Okay, if you stop, then you apply this rule which says الموت woot. This one is either 2, 4, or 6. As far as lengthening, it's the same as last week's type of med, which is 2, 4, or 6. The only difference is that if I continue, this will be cancelled, and it's actually even less than 2. However, last week's med is, if I continue, it goes back to natural med, which is 2. Right? All right. So let's have a look. We have a bit more. In fact, here is a comparison of this week's med and last week's med. Okay, so this table shows you a recap. Now, if we have a look on the top, it says in Arabic, 2 med. Al-mad al-arid lis-sukun. The med that has sukun when we start, when we do waqf. Alameen, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. The noon has sukun, and the ya before it is the concerned mad. Okay. And this mad has 3 letters. Wow, alif, and ya. Now this week's mad, al-mad al-leen, soft or easy mad, has only 2 letters, not 3. It's just a comparison. Only ya and wow. Okay. So this is the first comparison, the letters of mad. Okay, so far so good. So far so good in the comparison between last week's and this week's mad. Are you still
Yes,
with me?
inshallah.
All right, so these are first object of comparison. Now, the second is the type of letters, meaning, well, this is a bit similar to the previous, but what is going to be lengthened in last week's mad is alif sakina maftuh ma qabluha, alif with sukun with fatha coming before it, ya sakina maksur ma qabluha, actually should be ma qabluha, not mal, typing error, ya with sukun and kasra coming before, and waw sakina madmum ma qabluha, waw with sukun with dhamma haraka coming before it. Now the letters from this week mad leen, what comes before it is actually fatha for both ya and waw. Okay, and both are sakin. Okay, all right, very good. Now, and then in terms of length, it's state when continuing. If we do wasl, not waqf. You remember waqf? What is the meaning of waqf?
To stop.
Stop.
Yes. So if we don't stop, if we continue from one ayah to the next ayah, how do we count the letters, or what type of lengthening will it be? All right, for last week's mad, al-mad al-arid lis-sukun, it will be 2 counts, like the natural mad. Very good. All right, excellent. So we'll say something like this. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Okay, I stopped, it was 4, but I continued in the 2 previous ayah, it was 2. Okay. However, for this week's mad al-leen, if I continue, it will be even shorter than natural mad. It will be even shorter than 2. So in fact, there's no mad if you continue. It cancels the lengthening. Okay, I would say لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم. So there is no mad there. Cancellation of mad in case of this for this week's mad. Okay. So basically, this is another difference between last week's and this week's mad. No mad when it continues for this week. Now let's have a look at different ayat of the Quran that have this mad in it. If we go to Surah Al-Baqarah, second chapter of the Quran, ayah number 2. All right. First, let's spot the types of mad that we have in this ayah. Just as a simple exercise, we can actually try to identify all those mad we have. All those types of mad. How many do we have? We can count them. Let's start with the first word. ذَلِكَ. Any mad here? ذَلِكَ. This one. Do we have any mad here? Anyone? Participants?
Natural.
Again, I didn't hear, sorry. Can you say it again?
Is it basic natural?
This one, right? Fatha. This mad alif, right? Yes,
Yes.
very good. Excellent. Good job. So this is natural mad. It has an alif with no characters on top of it, no harakat, sorry. And the previous haraka is fatha here. So this is natural mad. ذَلِكَ. Okay. Next word. Any mad letters? So let's make this 2 first. Let's make this 2. Okay. This word. I'm waiting for you. Huh? I don't hear anything. Can you help me?
The second one is ta, kita.
Okay. So there is alif, right?
Yeah.
So if we want to tell the mad, we have to say alif, yeah, or wow, right? Okay. So we have an alif here. And then we have the same. There is a fatha before it in the previous
Before
letter.
it.
Okay. So we may consider this also a natural mad. Very good, sister. So 2 here and 2 here. All right. Let's continue. Next word, la.
Right.
Is also right. Yeah, very good. So we have alif here, right? We have fatha here, right? And we also consider this as 2. Very nice. Natural. Now let's look here. What happened here?
Right.
All right. What is this mad?
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know what this is?
Madeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Me.
What is your name?
Layla.
Layla. Very good, Layla. So you see, this is a bit different because we already see that the sukoon is actually stated on top here. Compared to all these previous alifs. And the preceding letter, or the preceding haraka,
It's fatha.
normally it should be, yeah, if it's natural. But this is not natural. It's lean. So we have a fatha. So here we have an option. If we stop, let's make a little chart. All right. Let's make it this way. Waqf. Waqf means to stop. Right? And if we stop, how many letters how many counts of mad do we have? Options.
2.
What are the options?
2, 4, or 6.
Exactly. So we have options of 2, 4, or 6. If we continue and we do wasl, what is the lengthening we have?
We cancel the lengthening.
So no lengthening, 0. Okay. Very good. Excellent, sister. MashaAllah. Now, how about this one? What is this?
Fee.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. It's yeah. Excellent. Very good. I'm going to use another color here, maybe actually blue. So we have yeah with assumed sukoon on top of it
Yes.
and preceded by kasra, right?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So here in this case, what's the lengthening?
2.
2. Okay. We will revisit this, huh? Don't worry, just leave it 2 for now. Okay. Does this have a length or not? Yes or no?
Sorry, say again.
Does this
No.
letter have a lengthening or mad? Yes, I think
Yeah.
Sister Asia said no, right? Is it Sister Asia?
No.
Who is it? Who said no?
I also say no.
No.
Oh, Sister Nida, I
Nida.
think.
Okay.
So this doesn't have mad.
Yes.
And then we continue the last one.
Mm, Yes, there is. Yeah, and
There is, right? Okay. So
Natural.
we
Yeah,
have,
the gene.
okay, excellent. So we have E preceded by a kasra,
That's
right?
true. Yes.
So what are our options here? Because it's the end, the end of the ayah.
If we stop, then we read it.
Yes, very good, sister. If we stop,
If we stop, we can count it 2, 4, or 6. And we
excellent.
continue, it's only 12 rakah.
Exactly. So here we have 2, 4, or 6. This is mad al-arid li-sukun from last week, actually. And if we continue wasl, it becomes natural mad,
yeah.
mad tabi'i. Okay, very nice. All right. Now, the only thing is that we have some interesting things here. Okay, do you know what this means in the Quran? I think sisters and brothers, I asked you before, and one sister replied. I think she correctly gave us the answer. You know, it's
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Quran. There are some parts of the Quran that have that. You know.
Yes. Can I give again?
Yes, of course, please.
Yeah, so it's the same as last time we say you have to stop on one and continue another. So you have to stop one of them.
Exactly. So if you choose, for instance, to stop at the first one, then at the second one, you don't stop and you continue. Okay. So you will say ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Or if you stop at the second station, let's call it a station, then you don't stop at the first. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So this is optional for you. Up to you where you want to stop, right? Okay. Now this has implications because if you stop here, we know already that you have 2, 4, or 6. And if you continue, then you don't have any mad. Now, we haven't done the other one. So this one, if you continue, we know it's mad tabi'i. And if you stop, it's the same as this because this is the same mad. It's called mad arid li-sukun. Okay, this is what would happen if you continue here. If you actually stop, sorry. Okay, if you stop and if you continue, same. Okay, did you understand what happens?
Yes,
So
Alhamdulillah.
it's either natural if you continue, or if you stop, it becomes last week's mad, al-mad al-arid al-sukun. All right. So do you want to practice? Does someone want to practice?
Yes,
Let's have a
sure.
brother and a sister, or a sister first and a brother then. Okay. Let's start with the sister then. Bismillah. Any sister volunteers? Let's have.
You mean to read it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Are you sure? Can I
Hi,
try?
Bismillah. Yes, you can, of course, my sister. Go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ذلك الكتاب ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Did you stop? You didn't stop. You have to stop.
متقين. La rayba
Actually, let me
fi.
just say something. Maybe I didn't explain very well.
Got it.
I need to explain probably correctly.
Yeah, sure, sure.
You have options, right?
Zalika.
But you have to stop.
La rayba. Yeah.
So you have options either at station 1 or station 2, but you cannot read the whole ayah without stopping. It means although you
Yes.
have 2 options, there is no third options of continuing. So
Yeah.
you must either stop at the first or the second. You cannot read the whole ayah without stopping.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's do it
Yeah.
again. Try again. ذلك الكتاب لا
Zalik. Okay.
لا
ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Okay, actually it's very good, mashallah, mashallah. So لا ريب لا ريب.
لا
Okay,
ريب.
so this is madleen. If you stop, it becomes madleen. Today's lesson, madleen. Right, very
Right.
good.
It's two counts, right? 2 counts.
Yeah, 2, 4, or 6.
2,
And
4,
if
or 6.
continuing, no mad. Okay. Sister Nida, you raised your hand?
Oh yeah, I also want to try.
Of course, go ahead, inshallah.
ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Very good, mashallah. Excellent. That's correct. That's correct. Any brothers? Asia, let's do Asia first and then another brother.
I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
So for the madleen, for example, can we say roiba fi for 2 counts, and then for muttaqin we say it for 6 counts, or does it have to be the same?
It has to be proportional to your stop. If you do, for example, لا ريب فيه 4, then you have to be consistent at the end also 4. You cannot change because they are the same, right?
Okay.
So مد وإياكم. So مد العارض للسكون, if we make 4 at the stop of في, then it has to be 4 at the stop of للمتقين. That's proportional. That's like everything has to be consistency. That's a good question, mashallah. That's a good question, sister. Very good. Okay. Do you want to read, sister? Asia, right? Asia, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Very good. So that you applied the rule correctly, alhamdulillah. Okay, any brothers, please? Okay, listen, brothers, this time you didn't participate, but I'm going to give you the second time you will participate. So let's make this ayah for the sisters and the next ayah for the brothers. Here, if we go to Surah Al-Anfal, there is also here another situation, but it's not exactly the same because you don't have a forced stop. You have option of continuing. You have option of stopping, but you have an option of continuing. Okay, it's not a compulsory stop. So if you have enough breath, you actually can read the whole ayah without stopping here. Okay. However, I'm just going to practice a little bit with you, and I just want you to pay attention to the 2 arrows. Okay, we're not going to go over the whole ayah and identify each and every madda, but I just want to identify the mad in the 2 red arrows. Okay, so first of all, if we actually stop at al-qital, what happens there? Let's see, magenta, for example. So we have a fatha, we have an alif, right? Alif, and it's preceded by a fatha. So it's a natural type of all of the category or class of lengthenings. Alif preceded by fatha, right? That's the normal one. And then for the last one, we have a ya. But yeah, normally it should be preceded by kasra. But this ya is preceded by fatha. Now this tells us that this mad is going to be madli. Exactly. All right. So in this case, if I choose to stop here at this ayah, at this junction here, what do we do? What are our two options? Let's say waqf and wasl. In case I do waqf, if I stop, what are my options, sisters and brothers?
Yes. Still 2 counts.
Still 2 counts. Okay. That's it. How about last week's lesson? So if we stop, this kasra is cancelled and becomes sukoon, right?
Yes.
So we have last week's lesson, al-mad al-arid lil-sukoon, with mad, which has sukoon just after it, right? So in this case, if I make a waqf, I have 2, 4, or 6.
Yes.
All right, because here it's in the middle of an ayah, it's not at the end of an ayah, but still a stop. It's still a stop. So the mad tabi'i becomes mad arid lil-sukoon. Okay, but if I continue, if I make wasl, then it's natural mad. All right, this is last week's lesson. All right, and then this week's lesson, let's just change colors. I think it's easier to understand. Green. This week's lesson we have. Yes.
Sorry, excuse me, Dr.
Yes,
Selim.
sister.
Yeah, I want to ask this. Just now you're talking about that, and this ta, but ending with lam, like, so still consider we can do 2 or 4 or 6.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have stopped, right?
Yeah,
You
but
can
there's a
you
lam,
can think about
but
it.
there's a lam there. I thought we can only ending with mud, then it's count. This ending with mud and they have another letter there, so it's the same thing.
No, it's actually there is no ayah that ends with mad without letter after the mad. Like for instance, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, there is E, but there is noon, right?
Mean.
So yeah, and then
don't
followed by
have any additional letter behind that. Rabbi Alamin.
yeah.
Ending with N, ending with noon. Don't have other letter, lam or anything there. So I thought on this situation only, then we can do 2 or 4 or 6.
No, the situation is if there is a mad, but you are stopping, right?
Okay.
So for example, if we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, so that's the end of the ayah, right? There's
Yeah, this I understand.
and you
yeah.
stopped. You stopped,
Yes,
right?
I understand. Yeah. But
ألم
then
ترى
this one
كيف
is
فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. So the same here. So قتال فيل. So instead of the of feel, here you have an alif.
Or maybe it's, even though there's another consonant letter behind the mud, still we can treat them same as the mud.
Yeah, actually, there always needs to be a consonant after the mad, right? There cannot be a mad without consonant behind it. For instance, ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل لإيلاف قريش أيش. There's always a letter that comes after the mad. The mad is not hanging like that by itself, right? And if there is no consonant, there will be a hamza, for instance. Hamza, okay? That's a good question. وإياكم. And then the second mad, if we consider this is last week's mad al-arid al-sukoon, then this week is al-mad al-lin. So we have fatha before it, not the kasra. So here, what are our options then? If we continue and if we stop. If we stop, what did we say this week? If we stop, what do we do?
Also 2, 4, 6.
Exactly, like last week, so it's easier to remember. 2, 4, or 6. However, if we continue, zero, nothing. No, here's the difference between this week and last week. All right. So let's ask the brothers here to help us. يا أيها النبي حرض المؤمنين على القتال إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200. Now I read it quickly without any tajweed. So any brothers want to tell us about how to recite it with stopping, for instance, or continuing? Up to you. Brothers. Brother, Anas, brother Anas. Yes. Thank you for raising your hand.
I will try.
Yes, inshallah.
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي حرض المؤمنين على القتال إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200.
MashaAllah. Good job, brother. MashaAllah. Good job. Very nice. You got it. You got it. Alhamdulillah. All right. Any other attempts? That's successful attempt, mashallah. Any others? Inshallah. Good job, brothers and sisters. Any questions? Any questions that is pressing you or you're thinking about for this week and last week's lesson? Actually, if you think about it, it's not too hard. It's just 246 for last week and this week. But last week, the only difference is that it goes back to natural method. Yeah. Let me see if I have any questions from you. I will pause and wait for questions. Questions? Yes? No?
Can I ask you?
Of course. It's free.
How
Just ask.
I just got about the sign to stop now. If there is any we can do to, because we don't know how to stop. Sometimes my breath is not enough, to get until the end of the ayah. So is there anything that we can do to memorize more better about the sign or anything like that?
Okay, I understand what you mean. Yeah, in fact, these ayat are helping us because sometimes, as you can see, let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Sometimes there are hints in the Quran. It helps us to identify this type of med. As you can see, there is a sukoon here, right?
Yes.
Sometimes the sukoon is not written. But sometimes it's written, and that's already a hint that here this type of med is special. It means here, if you choose to stop, it won't be a natural med. You have to make it 2, 4, or 6 at least. But if you choose to continue, then you have no other option than to just make it 0 med. So sometimes it's like these harakat on top of the Quran, it's like a sign, it's like traffic signs to tell you here, this is a special type of med here. You have to be careful here. So it kind of visually, it catches your attention, it catches your attention visually. I'm trying to look for other types, but we will see. I have actually a copy, an image of today's practice. Let's see if we can find these symbols as well. As you can actually see them here. للمتقين. Okay. في so see here, there is no sukoon, there's no sukoon, there's no sukoon, but here there is sukoon. So this is telling you if you stop here, this is actually called madleen. So probably one of the ways to identify madleen is to find the sukoon. Find the sukoon. See sukoon here, and also sukoon here. Sukoon here. All right, that's a good question, sister, mashallah. Yeah. So the presence of a sukoon probably indicates that the med is madleen. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good job, sister. All right, so let me tell you what we will have for. You're welcome. Well, yeah. For the homework, we have easy ayah. First ayah 1 to 5 of Surah Al-Baqarah. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Okay, just make it until ayah number 5. You can make it easy, short. And we can practice together today. And then after today, you can actually send me your tajweed and I will give you some feedback, inshallah. All right, so let's go to our quiz of the week. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you still with me?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Brothers, what's going on today? Where are you, brothers? Brothers need to have energy. Need some coffee. All right, alhamdulillah. Brother Sultan is always there,
Alhamdulillah.
inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Sultan, and all the brothers, all of you, Jazakumullah khair. Now let's have a look. As usual, this will help us to memorize the Quran and to practice our Arabic skills. Which chapter of the Quran has Allah's name in every ayah? Every ayah of this chapter, every single ayah, Allah's name, Allah is mentioned. The name Allah is mentioned. Allahu, Allah. Okay.
Al-Ikhlas.
Huh?
Al-Ikhlas.
No, no Google, no Google. Actually, Al-Ikhlas almost. Al-Ikhlas almost because قل هو الله أحد, okay. Allahu Samad, okay. لم يلد ولم يولد, no. ولم يكن له كفوا أحد, no.
هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو.
Okay, that is a chapter.
Yeah, but
Ayatul Kursi.
No, I didn't say ayah. A whole chapter, from first to end. Every
Al
ayah has.
Imran.
No, we are not guessing here. It's either
Sorry.
you know or you don't know. Okay, alhamdulillah. Well, actually, that's
It is.
Mujadala.
Oh, mashallah. Who said that?
Wait.
MashaAllah. Did you know it or did you Google it? Well, that's good. Regardless, you know it. Alhamdulillah. That's good. You got the right answer. It's Surah Al-Mujadilah. The person, the woman who is pleading. The pleading woman, Al-Mujadilah, Jadal, Mujadilah, pleading. Okay. In this chapter of the Quran, chapter 58, every single ayah has the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not a short chapter, actually. It's actually, you would consider it, if you think about it, you think it's in Juz Amma. You would think, oh, it must be in Juz Amma because Juz Amma usually short chapters, right? But this is how many ayat in this chapter? 66, actually, 66. So it means that Allah's name subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned at least 66 times. If you add to that, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, that's excellent. Good job, brother. Good answer. Very good. So you can go back, just double check that what I'm saying is correct tonight after the Tajweed class, and Allah will give you reward for reading those letters of the Quran, inshallah. You go back and try to read this chapter and say, okay, here. قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها. So you have it once there, and it continues. وتشتكي إلى الله والله يسمع تحاوركما إن الله سميع بصير. So actually there's four times in the first ayah. And then it continues. You can see in every single ayah, at least it's mentioned once, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, good job, brother. I don't have rewards or, something to give you as present, but if I had a piece of candy, I will send you one now. But inshallah, you get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you have good memory and you are the book of Allah is in your heart and you know all of these details. Good job, brother, mashallah. All right, so let's practice today. We have ayat 1 to 5 from Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, now we will practice together, inshallah. So I'm going to read it, and then you can listen and then probably mute your microphone, and you can repeat ayah by ayah after me, inshallah. Okay, so let me start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. Okay, so you can actually practice, and if you want to be careful for next time, you can review all the types of lengthening or mad, and you can actually practice. Because we have lots of different types of mad here. We have lots. We have the ones we learned today. Al-mad al-lin. Let's see. Yes, we have al-mad al-lin here. La raib. And we have mad arid al-sukun in each and every end. Okay. All right. Al-mad al-arid al-sukun. And we also have al-mad with hamza. Okay. We have lots of hamza type of mad. So 2, 4, or 5. Yeah, and then you know, you have lots of mad tabi'i also. Alladhina yu'minun. Okay, so this is nice practice for all of us, inshallah. You know, go back, and if you want, you can actually make some notes just for this short 5 ayat. To recap all the mads, you can go one by one and write the length just in a piece of paper, and then practice 3, 4 times. This it's not very long, right? It's only 5 ayat. Practice until you get it right. Okay, until you get it right.
So brother,
Yes,
is it like if we start with 2 counts, then all goes with 2 counts?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Therefore,
yeah.
then if there are 6,
Exactly.
anytime, all type of mad.
Right. So it will be consistent. So if you do it in this, if you do mad tabi'i 2 counts, then it will be 2 counts. If you, I mean, if you do mad arid al-sukun 4 counts in one ayah, it has to be also 4 counts in the next ayah. So all the time it will be consistent. Otherwise, there's no measure. There's no key, or what do we call it? There has to be a common ground. Yeah. That's good. Good question. That's a good question, sister. What I was going to tell you else. Do we have any volunteers to practice? We can try. You want to practice? Any volunteers? How about Layla and Jannah? Haven't heard you today.
Okay, we'll continue. I will. Inshallah.
Yes? I heard someone. Yes, go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك كتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Very good, brother. Jazakallah. Brother Ghazali, MashaAllah. Excellent. Okay, I will tell you something. I just noticed that you can actually think about this qaf, right? Here and here. Okay. Qaf is a bit hard because we have to reach a bit back, right? للمتقين. Actually, my son, Shamsuddin, I review with him Quran every week. And I always tell him, pay attention to your qaf. He tends to say ka, because his mother tongue is Chinese and English, and they don't have qaf in English and Chinese. So I say, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ qa. It's a throat consonant. Okay, it kind of reaches back to almost the larynx. لِلْمُتَّقِينَ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. Okay, qaf. And then also, don't forget the ikhfa here. ينفقون. Okay, other than that, the med is very good, Brother Ghazali. Jazakallah khair. Excellent job, mashallah. Barakallahu feek. Okay, let's see. Any other volunteers? Asia, and then I think I saw Brother Sultan raising his hand. So let's go with Sister Asia, if you don't mind, Brother Sultan. And then we go back to you, okay? Sister Asia, please go ahead.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Okay, mashallah. Jazakallah khair, sister. Okay, can you read the last ayah again, starting here? أولئك.
أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Very good. Now, من ربهم, this is, how do we call it? إدغام بلا غنة. So we have noon sakina, right? And we follow it by, remember the letters of idgham, yarmalun, right? Yarmalun. So we have ya, ra, mim, lam, wow, and noon. And these letters, we have these two, the idgham is without ghunna. So mir rabbihim, because there is shadda here, right? Mir rabbihim. I think you probably need to focus a bit on the shadda without repeating the ra too much. أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. Can you try again?
Yes.
Just the last ayah.
أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Okay, من ربهم. Very good, very good. Jazakallah khair, sister. Very nice, very good. Good job. Okay, let's see, Brother Sultan. Let's have a look at your, let's listen to your recitation, brother, or your son, if you want.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Jazakallah khair, mashallah, mashallah. Okay, the same, a little bit here. ينفقون, ينفقون. You know, the noon sakina, Here's another hint. This is actually to answer the sister's question earlier. She asked a very good question. Sometimes we have some signs that we have to do something special in some letters. If we look at the noon in some of the words in this ayah, we have a noon here, for instance, and then we have another one here. Let me see if we have others. Unzila here. Okay. I have another one here. Right. Now, what's the common thing in all of these highlighted ones? Is this one too.
And no sukoon on it.
Exactly. So it means that we will do many things except idhar. So whenever there is sukoon on a noon, it means that's idhar. There is idhar. But if there is no sukoon, it means it's either ikhfa or idgham. Okay. So it means pay attention. This is a suspicious noon. It's not clear. the sukoon on top of it, it means it's clear. It's passed the test. You just read it clearly. Okay. But if it doesn't have a sukoon on top, it means this noon needs your careful attention. You have to do something to it. You have to do something special. Either you're going to hide it to make ikhfa. For instance, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. This is hiding. يُنْفِقُونَ. So we do something special. The same here. There's another hiding here. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. All right. So you are hiding it. In this case, you're not hiding, but you are merging with the next letter. You're doing something to it, but if it's noon like this with sukoon on top, it means it's clear, it's ilhar. You just have to do nothing to it, just read it. Okay. So when you see noon without sukoon on top, just do something about it. Don't just read it clearly. Just don't go over it like that. Just make it either hidden or make it merged with the next sound or the next letter. All right. So
Yeah, that's good hints.
Try again.
Inshallah, we can actually benefit from this. Try again. Yes, of course, please.
Just this one.
Of course.
وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ.
Very good. ينفقون. You can make a count of 2 harakat. ينفقون. Very nice, brother.
الذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك.
Exactly.
هم يوقنون.
Excellent. Very good. And when you said yuqinun, okay, when you said yuqinun, that's good because you make it this one longer. This is mad tabi'i yuqinun. This is 2 and this is 4 because this is mad arid lis-sukun. Yuqinun. Okay. Jazakumullah khair.
جزاك الله وإياكم أحسن الجزاء.
Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Okay, so this is what I have for you today. Alhamdulillah. This is just a little bit different from last week. Remember the name of this type of lengthening this week is called a mad al-lin, the soft mad al-lin, right? Okay. So it is the mad that has 2 letters only, waw and ya, not alif. It excludes alif. Okay. And the most famous chapter of the Quran that has mad al-lin is Quraysh. Quraysh. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. So all of the endings of Surah Quraysh are madleen. A fatha before the ya or waw, and waw and ya with sukoon on top of it. Okay. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, I hope we all benefit from this.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan kaseeran.
Don't forget to go to the Quran.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Don't forget to go to check today's quiz, the answer. Al-Mujadila. It won't take you too long, just for the sake of curiosity. Go to chapter 58.
I checked already.
Yeah, I checked.
So is it correct?
There are 2 ayat.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, you checked for us then. Alhamdulillah. Then if other people want to do it, they can also do it.
One name of Allah and sometime two also there, mashallah.
Yes, yeah. The first ayah has 4 times. The
Yeah,
name of Allah
that's-
subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's really true, Hinds. Never have paid attention to that.
Alhamdulillah. So the first answer.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, I
will-
have 4 Allah there. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, those are just you can use this for our children, you know, for trivia and for Quranic quiz to make them more excited about knowledge about the Quran. And we can also do that in Ramadan. Like for instance, every day we ask our children questions to excite them a bit about Quran or Hadith or Sahaba or Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so they can accumulate more knowledge and know about our Deen. Not just about the letters and words of the Quran, but also about stories and facts, inshallah. All right, so Jazakumullah khair. I will actually conclude by the dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. See you next week, inshallah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Inshallah.
wabarakatuh.
Salam.